beloveds and beloveds. I hope you're all doing well today, this fine morning. So I have a special guest here again. We like to tease him a little bit and call him Super J because he's just the man. He does everything super well and we really appreciate him. And he's been one of our top witnesses in everything that has been happening. So Dance Warriors, we're going to talk a little bit today about how you can spot bad guys and spy guys and hopefully, tell the difference. Just please know the line is very fine. Wolves in sheep clothing, they like to look like sheep. So there's going to be a disguise that they're going to wear at all times. But look for the zipper, look for the seam. It's not always easily found. Because as you know, some good people have very good intentions and it might look like they're doing something wrong. So this is just a rough guideline. Please show grace, discernment, have a lot of people around you to help you. But this is just, a little bit to get you started. That'll hopefully help you protect your creativity, your art business. And, it doesn't have to be dancing. It could be anything. As we have a business background, we have an art background, we have a lot of different things going on, so we're going to try to cover various areas, but this should serve to inspire and encourage you. This is copyright material, as in everything that we do is copyright. In other words, we own it. Don't derive other works from it, don't steal it verbatim, just don't cherry pick from this video and the other video and maybe something in my books or our books. Just don't. You need to come up with your own thing completely. And we encourage that. The more the merrier. However, I am not your resource in which to glean from. And we are, filing suit and doing everything that we need to continue to protect ourselves. And if you haven't heard from us yet and you're one of these bad guys in our lives, take a number. There's a lot, and we will get to you soon enough. But we're trying to amend and make all things work, not just for us, but we have given even bad guys and spy guys the opportunity to mess up, turn themselves in, and get on our boat because their boat is sinking and not ours. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. We are doing the best we can. Also, I do want to do another note, a little heads up, that not everything in our lives that has happened is something. And again, not everything in our lives is nothing. What do I mean by that? It means that we have to look at all things considering the climate in which we find ourselves in. Because it could be something, and it could be big. It could be a big piece to this big puzzle. I say puzzle, but we're not perplexed by it anymore. We're not confused. We kind of know some answers. We know some whys. We know some whos. We know some, answers. And as we continue to put this puzzle together without the benefit of having a box or a cover picture to know what this puzzle looks like, things can, I don't want to say drastically change, because we do know some things. They say until you put that last piece of the puzzle in, you might not know everything, and everything can change. Like there was that one mystery puzzle, or I don't know, something, I'm not recalling correctly and everything, but the last piece of the puzzle was actually a weapon, right? That was, it answered everything in the puzzle that you saw. It's like, oh wait, that's what it is. And then you do the puzzle a little more, and then, oh no, wait, it's this. And then the very last piece just so happened to be the, the clincher. But that's not necessarily the case in our situation. We are digging deeper, and I want to say we just keep finding out the why behind the why behind the why and how deep it goes. But, not bad. And, excuse me here, just pulling in our heater. Yeah, I mean, really, you can discover a lot and find out what is going on. And in most cases, we always give the benefit of the doubt. that the bad guys, the spy guys, were just trying too hard, tryhards, and I can be guilty of that. We all here on this end can be guilty of that because we believe in Jesus or God. Some of us are Jewish, Catholic, Protestant, whatever, and we wholeheartedly believe that every human being is worth saving, worth helping. So, that can be misread sometimes. And, we'll kind of compare notes on that too to give examples of how we were falsely accused and falsely interpreted. So be careful. But for the most part, we've done our homework pretty well, and we have given the benefit of the doubt to many people, and in written form saying, hey, this is what we have found, this is what we conclude, let's talk about this. And in some cases, they were very guilty and trying to cover it up, and there's just a whole myriad of different responses and different ways that people wanted to go about whatever it was. So we're working on it. Let's just start at the beginning. Do you want to add anything before we get going?
No, it's good.
Okay, did I do good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we are calling this series of videos Bad Guys and Spy Guys. I don't want to cover up your face. I don't care too much about mine, but
That's nice.
okay. So we're going to start at the beginning of this outline. Please forgive me. I'm working as hard as I can. I still have an injury in my upper right shoulder, which led to tendonitis, so he helps. I have other people to help me write, but this was my mistake. This should have been here in the outline, so, please forgive me. I'm doing the best I can, and it's not perfect. Also, to remind you, a lot of this stuff is in books and downloads and things that are definitely my copyright, the way I've expressed it, and so on. So do not take this for yourselves at all in any way, shape, or form. That means derivative works too. Okay, so let's get started. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
So what are we going to start with right here?
Yeah. Do you want to read that quote?
Yeah, quote, drowning man, whether good or bad, will try to save their life.
Mm-hmm. And that's in one of my books, and let me explain this. It doesn't matter when your life is in danger. The Grim Reaper, for lack of a better term, does not necessarily say, oh, you're a good guy, you're a bad guy, and I won't visit you. Death reaches for all of us at some point. Cancer, I said this in my book about cancer, it has no prejudice. It reaches out to anybody and everybody it so chooses. And as we continue in our lives, we are finding out more and more people have cancer and getting cancer and are prone to cancer. That's going to be a whole nother video. There are things you can do to help yourself. And I have the answer inside of my own body, let's put it that way. I have saved my own life with the help of others using many different means, and just to say this, I don't care what kind of help you get to resolve your health issue, cancer, anything, you save your life without harming others, of course. And you would think that goes without saying, but these hypocritical bad guys are like, well, you didn't say this. You just want to win. How evil is that? You know exactly what I mean. You shouldn't have to do a disclaimer like that. But anyway, to disclaim. And if it's medication, if it's natural means, if it's avoidance of eating certain things that have contaminants in it that are contributing to the growth of your tumor, do whatever you have to do to save your life. Again, the disclaimer, without hurting other people. You would think that goes without saying. So anyway, let's get started. But yes, that is a quote from my work. And what I meant by that is what I just said. A drowning man, a dying man, woman, human. Good Lord, today's politically correctness. I am not politically correct, and I refuse that anybody's going to make me so. Just get the gist of what I'm saying, seriously now. A drowning man. They are going to try to save their lives. They're not thinking in their hearts whether they're good or bad. And unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the heart of a good person will try to save a bad guy, because they always want humanity to reign and thrive and live and always give the bad guy, in a sense, to repent. Not, repent doesn't necessarily have to be a religious term, but repent means to change your evil ways, to change and turn around and go the other direction, and then staying with the repentance, meaning staying with your promise to not do bad anymore. And part of the thing with good guys versus bad guys, putting it simplistically, of course, there's a whole bunch of little details in between that aren't just blanket stereotypical cutouts. But for the most part, when somebody is drowning, they just want to keep living for the moment. But a bad guy, once you save them, will turn around and just stab you in the back. That's the other thing. There's an old saying in the art of war to not leave your enemies alive. I have a hard time with that, but I understand the whole premise, because so many times I've shown mercy just to be stabbed again. And you know how President Trump breeds the snake thing? I think it was part of a song. And, not that I'm a foolish woman, but, we're learning, and I'm still learning how to say, you're a snake and you're not going to change. When it comes to God, they certainly can. We know this, but you have to be careful. Look, being a good person is more risky than being a bad person at times, because you want to see everybody do well. That is one of the telltale signs, too, of how you can tell these people apart. And so we're going to do 2 parts to this. The first part, and we might add on as we go along, but the first part is what they seem to do. And then the second part is, how do you tell the difference between the good guys and bad guys, because they're sheep in wolves' clothing with zippers in the back. How do you tell them apart? Because they're trying to emulate good people, so of course they're going to have some good traits, but they're faking it. Okay, that's how you can tell, and it might take a long time, and it might be too late by the time you discover it. That's not your fault. So we're just going to impart some wisdom, things that we have learned. We have factual proof and truth and evidence to show you if you would like it. And yeah, let's just take a stab at it, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, ready? Okay, so you want to start with the first element.
Yeah. So, first element is the MO. And Article A that we have in this is that they tend to tear apart and wedge things between people.
Yeah, they seem to be quite notorious for doing that. And what we mean by the tearing apart, one of the ways the bad guys just love to start discord is by finding out who's with who. So let's just say we're in a seminar or something, and then we're together. They'll say, oh, are you guys together? Knowing that there's some kind of familiarity, you can always tell when people are together, because they'll be closer together in proximity, and they'll chat like
They'll gather information, basically.
yeah, and they'll know, and they'll go around saying, oh, and they ask very friendly, oh, you guys an item? Are you this? Are you that? And it seems harmless on the surface, and for most parts, it could be. See, that's the other thing, the fishing element with all of this. It could be, and then it could not be at the same time. How do you tell the difference? Well, my friends, sometimes you just have to wait until they make a really bad wrong move. Yikes, we're not quite there yet, but let's just talk about this tearing apart and wedge method. I would like to testify, give testimony right now, that these people, as you know, I call them they, because well, it's not time to release names, it's not time to point fingers yet, although we kind of do know the sum of them. But they're in a circle, I don't know, they. And how can I explain this better? But they have been trying to put a wedge between my family and I, my husband and I, and this can date back. And it does date back quite a ways and quite a while. I remember when I started dating my husband, we were college sweethearts. Isn't that neat? So we knew each other from quite a young age. But similar people who kind of looked like him, they were all, of this faith too. I was not. At that time, Catholic, also Jewish because of my mom and stepfather. But no heart relationship with the Lord, but following, you know, practices and holidays and tradition. Still good people, though. But yeah, they had this faith in their hearts, and they all had a similar story. They even lived in similar ways, and had just a lot of similarities. And I thought that was very odd. And I told my now current husband about all of this stuff, and he said, that is very strange, very strange. And they also were pretty good at music. Not as good as he is, so that was also another telltale sign that these others were kind of imposters and faking it. So luckily, the good Lord and my good intuition led me this way. And it doesn't mean that my husband and I are perfect with each other or ourselves or our relationships with our family and God. We're human, and we wear our humanity, some more than others, but we wear it out there for everybody to see. So that means there's a lot of history and a lot of imperfections, but we're always trying to be good people. And they knew our frailties. They knew the things that would get under our skin, and they use that stuff against us. Now, if you look in the news, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Certain celebrities have had this happen, and one in particular, I've said the name in the past, and I'm forgetting it right now. But they were set up. In other words, the husband was set up to be lured to have an affair. And right, and they found this out, and they stated it. This is what these people do. And it was attempted towards my family, us. And I noticed, especially because now we, my board, family, and us, are going through everything, every little detail. Like I said, some may be something and some may be nothing, but the climate says we have to check. So we have seen people put in our lives attempting to tear us apart, and for me to try to make me fall in love with the tall, dark, and handsome prince that would save me from my own husband. Alright guys, I don't need to be saved from my own husband. Yeah, we've had problems, but it's like normal. I'd rather have this than have the Prince Charming, who was sent by these evil people, figure out a way to knock me off and then get all my intellectual property. It's the Black Widow type thing. It doesn't just mean women doing it, because the spider, it's men too, and they try to find a way to marry into the family, and it seems on the surface, oh wow, just saving the little princess, me, but I'm a queen, I don't need saving, I govern very well, thank you, and then making things play against each other, so you have this territory and atmosphere, right? Mm-hmm. And they inject people. Remember how I talked about the circle and the 5 here and the they, putting people into your points of access to access you to help tear things apart. Little instigators, huh? And it could be, it's not innocent by any means, but it can be very harmful to not such a big deal. But I was targeted probably because of my familial family history and everything they dabbled in, the people I've worked for, etc. And I can't get into all the details about that now, or quite yet, because we're still finding out stuff. And I'm like, really? At my age, why didn't my family members tell me all this time? As if I didn't need to know. Thanks a lot. But anyway, we'll get to that another time. You'll hear about it. So they use methods like this. Their point is they want to preserve themselves. They don't want people talking like me now that we're finding stuff out. They want to be able to get after the access point of money, what makes money. My stuff makes money, obviously. It's been used against my will, and they're suppressing my stuff that they know that I've been putting out there. as well, and they're suppressing it from making money, although they really want it, and say, oh gosh, what a tragedy, she's just died. The hidden artist that only got so far, here, we're going to take this stuff and make her a big thing now after her death, type of, you understand? Hypothetical, but, just look at everything we've been saying and you tell me. God bless it. Okay, so, yeah, they try to tear people apart and put wedges in. Why don't you talk about what happened with me and that, over that one instance? Well, actually, several instances,
Which one where? I don't...
Remember, and because you were witness to it. And I just really wanted to make things work, and then we kept saying, wait a minute, they're purposely putting a wedge between us so we don't talk.
Oh, okay.
No names. Cheers.
So just what they were doing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, person A, who she had a relationship with, person B kept trying to make her and person A entertain certain things that are happening between the two of them that were not actually happening. It's just that person B told both people lies.
Yeah, let's see if we can kind of reenact it. So I'll be me, but you be the other person.
Okay.
And then I'll do the third person mouthpiece of person B.
Okay.
So I'm going to switch roles here and there. So person B would go to my beloved. I call everybody beloved, B-fly. I have that kind of a heart. Come on now. I really do. And so my beloved was approached and saying, hey, look, you know what? You know what this looks like to me? That this person that you're involved with has a mental problem. And it's not quite written that way, but it says, I would be concerned about their mental stability or something like that. We actually have the email of this, right? Mm-hmm. Now that puts a seed here, especially if the person is not very onto this kind of thing. That's another reason why we want to tell you guys this stuff. All in the guise of helping the poor soul, supposedly me, right? Mm-hmm. Now, knowing that, oh, wait, they're being manipulated, suppressed too, probably. That's how all of this works, right? And then, all of a sudden, there's this wall up. It's not even factually true, but because of the power of suggestion, this is how they tear apart and create this, which is called a wedge between the two parties. We've already talked a little bit about this in other videos. Unbeknownst to me, I was just thinking, hey, and being my loving self, what did I do? I helped. Like I said, I would move bars, the ballet bars in. Oh, and I just want to preface this. Me and this other person, I refuse. I have never filed a complaint against this person. I was pressured to, which is also very interesting to me looking back. Why? It's water under the bridge, but not in the same way. In other words, I'm not going to go back and try to accuse this person saying it's all your fault on where I'm at now. I now am like, how do we, on a professional level, protect, bring to light, which I think they already know because they're not stupid, and also, the ball of rubber bands, taking each band apart and looking at it for what it is. Now, I also want to preface this and say, two very strong-willed people, very not set in their ways, that sounds too old-fashioned and trite, but very, strong-willed in a sense. But I'm even more strong-willed. That's for sure, because I'm here fighting for the truth still. Not that they're weak, but, I mean no disparagement. I am not judging this person. They must know this by now. But we need to pull the rubber bands apart and look at everything, because this is related to our current thing. So anyway, the tearing apart, the wedge, right? They're putting it right here. And we'll tell you why at another date. But the wedge is acting as a thing, so we can't connect. They don't want us to connect because we both have parts of the truth that when combined, not only will they show what they've been doing, but it will also probably get a lot of people in trouble, and they don't want that. They want to keep doing their bad guy, spy guy thing. So I don't really care because the truth is going to be known anyway. I don't necessarily need this person in my life again. Please, I don't mean it derogatorily. We can, and I still can, dig it up, the truth. It would just be quicker, and they know that, but whatever. So then I'm pretending to be person B. I'm not myself yet, right? And I'm saying, just between you and me, you might want to do all these other things to protect yourself. So they're trying to make me seem like I'm some evil person trying to do something hideous to somebody when I wasn't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So then this person, because that would be somebody over them, and they like doing what they're doing in their lives, so they want to appease and please that person. I'm person B still, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just pretend to be your person again, and what is your reaction then?
Well, by default, it would be to believe what you said.
Right. And now look back at my other video when I was talking about a possible method. And mind you, I didn't quite know what I knew the words I was saying. It was basically, I think like prophetically, and I was just saying it. I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't writing it down logically and making my little graph. But look back at that video when I said the things that they do. The first 5 years are the hardest, and they give medication. In other words, you don't go into an office, sit down, they say, hey, we're going to vet you, and we're bad guys, we want you in our treasure trove here, so here's some medication, it'll help you because you have a good heart and we need to break it and twist it and make it so and so. Here's some meds that'll help you relax and get through it better, because we're going to be manipulating you and do all these horrible things to you, and we're going to use you to manipulate other people to protect us and our secrets. So it's not that obvious, guys. It's more like a situation will develop because these bad guys make it happen, influencing your circle. And then they will reveal things to that person very slowly. It's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? You look a little pale. Do you want to go see our doctor? We'll pay for it and everything like that. And then you go see the doctor, right? And they're very faux loving, like that, fake loving, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get into the doctor's office and say, I don't see anything wrong with you, except maybe you have a little bit of hypertension, you have a little this and that, and so all of a sudden you get a prescription for a certain medication.